we're jumping straight into the Mariners news. So we will head into that. Wrapping off that little Midwest road trip that the Mariners were on, ending at Wrigley Field with the Chicago Cubs. 3 games set there. The first 2 did not really go the Mariners' way. April 10th at the Cubs, a 2-3 loss. Our player of the game, pinch hitter left fielder Jared Kelenic, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 RBI, and a pinch hit solo homer in the top of the 9th inning. April 11th at the Cubs, a disastrous 9-14 loss. Our player of the game, first baseman Ty France, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. Now, before I continue on with that Cubs segment, you can see those 2 scores. I mean, the first game, a 1-run loss seems fine. That game went into extra innings. The Mariners had several opportunities to go ahead and win that game or put ahead the go-ahead runs. Were unable to do so. That 9-14 loss on the 11th was just ugly. After the first few innings, the Mariners had a 7-run inning. Things looked glorious. They had a 7-0 lead, and then they gave up an 8-run inning, and it was just ugly from there on out. They were able to get a few more runs, but just could not come back after that 8-run inning that they allowed to the Cubs. Then on the getaway game on the 12th, somewhat satisfying to wrap up with a win and salvage a game from that series, a 5-2 win. Our player of the game, right fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Teo, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 RBIs, and a 2-run shot. His 2-run homer came before the Jared Kelenic home run that went 482 feet. That is the longest by a Mariner in the StatCast era, and I believe the longest one at Wrigley Field. Went out to dead center in Wrigley, and nobody hits out to dead center in Wrigley. And it was the third consecutive homer, third homer in as many days that he had hit. So a homer in each game of the series. That brings us over to the Rockies series. The team returned home to T-Mobile Park April 14th versus the Rockies after the day off. A 5-3 win. So a nice way to start the homestand, get their second win in a row. Jared Kelenic continued his hot play, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, and a 2-run homer. So he made it 4 homers in as many games. He was hotter than the sun, some could say. He had that 2-run homer in that one. So that was really nice to see. So I try to do this better every week with the photos that we get from these home games. So from that win, that 5-3 win, we've got Teoscar Hernandez here embracing Jared Kelenic. Teoscar, I believe, had the single before Jared came up. Jared homered them to bring them both across, and you can see the emotion from Teoscar captured by our photographer Brian Saldana there. Nice to see the guys have fun. I know when Teoscar was brought in here in the press conference that he said he wants to make this team like a family, and it just seems like the guy has a ton of fun around here. So we'll go back to it. April 15th versus the Rockies, a 9-2 win. The Mariners were finally able to cash in a little bit with the bases loaded. Our player of the game, center fielder Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod, 1 hit, 1 run, 4 RBIs. 3 of those 4 ribbies came with a bases clearing triple. Again, nice to see the Mariners finally cash in with the bases loaded. That's been something that they haven't been able to do the last few years. So to see them be able to do that, come up with that nice 7-run differential victory against the Rockies is good to see. Then they were able to close out the sweep April 16th versus the Rockies with a 1-0 win. Our player of the game, nobody else but La Piedra, Luis Castillo, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no runs allowed, no walks given up, and 9 strikeouts. He flirted with a perfect game for a while, but that did end in the 6th inning. Still, only 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. An excellent performance from the Mariners ace. We'll go here on the, I said I'd be better about the photos, and then I do this. April 15th, we've got this photo. It was Jackie Robinson Day around MLB. Our photographer, oops, the tag is wrong on that, so I apologize. The tags on both of those are wrong. They're both Mathew Bermudez, so we'll fix that here. Jackie Robinson Day, Mathew Bermudez, our photographer on site. Ignore the tag in the top right. Everybody on both teams, everybody around the league wore the Dodger Blue 42 on their backs and had special edition hats, socks, and just general merchandise as well. And then from the 16th, again, apologies, forget the top right corner tag. Luis Castillo in that excellent game there, captured by Mathew Bermudez. If you want to read up on both of those games, you can go to our blog, the Converge Media blog, and you can see both of those recaps and photos by Bel Garcia and Mathew Bermudez. Before I get to the general, I had to stop myself there. Before I get to the general discussion about the last two series, our player of the week, I mean, I said his name a lot. It would make sense, right? Jared Kelenic, 6 games played. Over those 6 games, 9 total hits, 6 runs, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, 4 homers, 6 extra base hits in total, 1 stolen base, amounting to 23 total bases. So again, we saw a little bit of it in the Cleveland series, and just in little bits and pieces before the last two ones that we've been talking about here. It's been great, really great, and I'll put him back on the screen here to see Jared Kelenic continue to heat up. I mean, there was all this potential part of that Mets trade, and I talked about it a little bit in the first game of the Rockies series on my recap of that, and even on our road trip recap, which we are doing now. So be sure, again, to keep tuned in with the blogs. But just continue to see him perform. I mean, he's always had a solid glove. He was on the Sports Center top 10 at number 8 for a catch he made in right field for yesterday's game against the Rockies that was able to kept things scoreless. And that's a big part of that Rockies game, as you heard, a 1-0 win. But continuing to see him be patient at the plate. His glove in the outfield continues to be stellar. He started in left field a lot, but that play that he made that I just mentioned was in right field. So he can play the outfield. We've seen him play center field before. So just continuing to see him perform, and not he's having fun while doing it. And that's been a lot of criticism. It's kind of always weird to me to hear people say, oh, he should smile more. Anybody should smile more. Like, that's a little odd, in my opinion. But just seeing him, obviously, the emotion, the post game dance that the outfielders do, in addition to the infielders, it's good to see Jared enjoying this and perform as well. Both of those aspects, coming together. And if he's able to do that, to have an outfield of guys that are producing with Kelenic, with Julio, with Teoscar, that's one of the better outfields in all of MLB. So that's, again, we've got 162 games in total to play. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's nice to see that, at least, and especially the 6-game stretch, the 4 homers in as many days, that Titanic one at Wrigley, excellent to see. Outside of that, unfortunate those first 2 games at Wrigley. I mean, the one to open the series, to lose in extra innings, that's tough. But again, you had opportunities to bring runners across that you squandered. The 9-14 game was just unreal. That was nightmarish. I mean, to have a 7-run inning, excellent, explosive, to really go out there. The offense had kind of been dawdling along a little bit. And then Chris Flexen, unfortunate that his start went that way, gave up 8 runs in the inning after. And it's not good. That one was tough. To see them salvage the series was encouraging, though, and now they're on this 4-game stretch. We'll see how long that lasts, as I knock on wood. They took care of the Rockies. The Rockies franchise as a whole has kind of struggled in years past. German Marquez went on the injured list, so that deals a blow to their rotation. And now they have they continue. They've got a 9-game homestand going on currently, where they're going to take on a Brewers team that started off well, and they take on the Cardinals, who are no easy feat either. So nice to see this continue along. They're in second place in the division now. I just hate seeing it after, even a bad series where it's just doomsday. You wave the white flag and you're want to trade everybody. Overreactionary comments like that are kind of why we started everything with Circling Seattle Sports, just because that's ludicrous and stupid. But anyway, point being, we've got 162 games to play. Let's relax, right? They got a long way to go. They're second in the division right now, and we're only in April. So we'll get through it. Speaking of getting through it, we've got some injury-related news for you, starting here with Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore, not ready to play in games yet. He did meet with the team back on the 14th before heading on, and is not yet headed out on a rehab assignment with the Tacoma Rainiers. Moore will likely need to play more than a handful of games. Outfielders Cade Marlowe and Taylor Trammell are closer to playing in games, and starting pitcher Robbie Ray has not started throwing yet, but he feels good, quote unquote. So those are some updates for you in regards to that. We're going to head over to some roster moves here. There was a lot of them as the team dealt with injuries to Ray and Munoz. amongst others. On the 10th of April, the team selected right-handed pitcher Jose Rodriguez. Rodriguez, as a 27-year-old, has made 2 appearances and 1 start with the Tacoma Rainiers this current season, throwing 5 scoreless innings. The right-hander has was signed with Seattle to a minor league contract and an invite to spring training on November 22nd. The Venezuela native originally signed with the Angels and as an international free agent on December 3rd of 2012, and has since spent time with the Angels, Braves, Mets, and Mariners organizations. The same day, the team optioned right-handed pitcher J.B. Bukauskas to AAA Tacoma, and infielder/outfielder Nick Solak was designated for assignment from AAA Tacoma. On the 12th, the team selected the contract of right-handed pitcher Darren McCacken, optioned right-handed pitcher Jose Rodriguez to AAA Tacoma, and designated left-handed pitcher Brennan Bernardino for assignment from AAA Tacoma. On the 14th, you can see there's a lot of roster movement here. I have a friend here named Manny who would be very happy to hear the Darren McCacken news. So, Manny, this is for you, buddy. April 14th, left-handed pitcher Tommy Malone was selected from AAA Tacoma. He would make the start that day as left-handed pitcher Marco Gonzalez was placed on the paternity list. He had a solid outing after allowing a solo homer to Chris Bryant in the top of the first. And then right-handed pitcher J.B. Bukauskas was designated for assignment that day. April 15th, to wrap things up, infielder Jose Caballero was selected from AAA Tacoma. He was a name that we watched throughout the course of spring training who performed pretty well, and I thought maybe might be able to make the starting opening day roster, but did not. And he did make his MLB debut in the 9th inning. And on the same day, left-handed pitcher Tommy Malone was designated for assignment. Some may ask, why was he designated for assignment the same day the day after he had made a really nice start with the Mariners? That's because he's an 11-year veteran and he's out of options. So if a team picks him up, he goes there. But if he clears waivers, he'll likely return to AAA Tacoma. So wondering why, There are a lot of things that anger me about Mariners Twitter because a lot of people don't understand how things work. But that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. So Tommy Malone, designated for assignment, wasn't because he did anything bad, just because he's out of options. He's an 11-year veteran. He doesn't have that many anymore. So we continue to move along here with our upcoming. The Mariners sit at an 8-8 record, so they're at the 500 mark. They sit at second in the American League West behind the Rangers. Looking ahead, they close out their 9-game homestand here, starting with the Brewers tonight. April 17th versus the Brewers is a 6:40 p.m. start. April 18th versus the Brewers is also a 6:40 start. And then April 19th versus the Brewers is a 1:10 p.m. game. That's a Wednesday matinee game. And then the Mariners will get the Thursday off before they take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals, April 21st versus the Cardinals is a Friday game at 7:10 p.m. And it's also All-Star Hat Night giveaway. April 22nd versus the Cardinals is a 6:40 p.m. start on Saturday. And then April 23rd versus the Cardinals, a 1:10 p.m. game. On Sunday is Little League Day, and every kid in attendance will get a George Kirby and Logan Gilbert poster. Apologies on that. Again, as I mentioned, the Brewers have done a pretty good job to start the season. The Cardinals they're really not that spectacular to start the year. Let me double check on that. I don't want to talk bad about a team and then have them be doing well really secretly. I know the Brewers have been doing well because we had to look at them for a game day. The Cardinals 7-9, so they're pretty close to where the Mariners are right now. So I wouldn't scoff at them either.